here we go. Welcome back to episode 8 of UnHammered with your host, Brantt Myhres. And extremely excited to talk about this episode, a couple cool things. But as always, we chat about if anybody's been able to hang on for another week. Instead of the day at a time, we're doing a week at a time here. And man, we're into episode 8, so that means 2 months. If somebody just joined the show and decided to change their lifestyle a couple months ago, awesome. If you've been sober and you're still sober, amazing as well. I'm still sober another week, which is great, and I get to talk to you people about hope and recovery. Something that's dear to my heart, and talking about recovery. I mentioned, Sheldon Surrey last episode about the relapse and all that, and him giving me my coin in Vegas, and I wanted to show that. So if you guys are watching, you'll be able to see it, and if you're not, it's just a 2-year coin with Unity service and that kind of stuff that they give you at the meetings. So it's right here, if you can see that. And I'm going to keep this. Well, I do keep it in my car. I'm not going to. I do. And whenever I'm happy or feeling a bit sad, I just grab onto it, and it helps me. So what else is going on? Well, we've got a few questions, a few emails about this $100,000 referral fee that I've bountied out. Might as well take a sip of coffee before I talk about that one. And is it for real? Yeah, it's for real. It's, I've justified it and talked about the $2,500 a year and all that. But in all reality, the fucking truth about all this is that, let's say that I do get referred to a girl that I fall in love with, and I'm 50, okay? And I do meet a really good girl, because I'm not going to date a fucking train wreck. I'll tell you that. I'm going to meet a nice woman one day. I don't know when that is, but anyways, this girl will lift me up. And as many of you men know out there, good women tend to, as they always say, your better half, right? So I'm going to consider her my better half. And this $100,000, she'll help me make it back somehow, some way. I'm not worried about that. But yeah. The offer stands. Wired $100,000 into your account, but I got to buy her a ring. Don't have to walk down the aisle, but I got to buy her a ring. And when I do, you give me your bank info, and you get to go and check out your bank receipt. So, anyways, thinking about people well, what are the requirements for this girl? I don't really have a lot. One would be the obvious. She needs to understand my situation and respect it. I don't want or need a non-drinker. Actually, I wouldn't say I prefer. I just prefer somebody to be themselves, and then I'll decide on whether they're drinking. The way that they drink is acceptable. I don't want anybody that does drugs. Let's get that straight. I don't want marijuana. I don't want none of it. I don't want any drugs in my house or around me or my son. So no drugs. What else? Yeah, drinking, I don't care. Just be a responsible drinker. And maybe, I don't know, a nice smile. I like nice smiles. I'm into the smiles. And good with kids, because I have a little one. And I have a 16-year-old too. But loves children. So that's it. If you know of anybody, send a picture. Make sure that the picture is current, not from 2009 when Facebook first opened, or MySpace. Send the current one, please. DM me on the social media sites, I guess. And then no filters, because I'll know about filters. Those ones are sneaky. They're sneaky. So anyways, yeah, the offer stands. And we'll see what comes of it. Hey, I could meet her in a grocery store tonight when I take my son to get some macaroni and cheese. Maybe she's waiting there. I don't know. But maybe there's a referral fee. I guess we'll see. There's a cool question, a couple questions that were written in. Do you regret writing the book? And basically the follow-up or the addition or attachment to that question is, do you regret being so open and honest? Do I regret writing the book? No, I don't. I don't regret writing the book at all. That to me, other than being a stable parent for my kids, is the proudest thing I've ever done for Brantt Myhres is write that book. And as I've witnessed in the last few years, it was all worth it. All the honesty, all the so-called whatever, if you want to fucking call them embarrassing moments, it is what it is. I am who I am. So no, I don't regret being so open. And the honesty, we're going to talk about honesty, you guys. Honesty and recovery. To me, that's number one. That is number one. But no, I don't regret being honest. Everything in that, the lawyers, when they went through the original manuscript, they're like, is everything in this manuscript true? And I said, yes, to a T. I'm surprised I could remember all that stuff after all the fucking blows I took to the melon, but I did. So yeah, it was all honest, and I wouldn't regret one thing. Then they asked, are you worried about your kids reading the book? And how they might feel? I was worried about Peanut when it came out a few years ago, but funny thing about children is like, Chloe probably really won't talk to me about that book until she's older. Probably quite a bit older, really. She's 16. Kaner, he's into the book. He grabs it, and funny story. So in the pictures in the book, there's one picture where I have a black eye and it's all bloody and stuff, and it was from George Larac. And so, anyways. George Larac was practicing. He was giving Matt Rempe some lessons the other day at the Iceplex in Edmonton. So I text George and I said, "Hey, I'm coming down. Will you be there?" He goes, "Yeah." So, anyways, I'm getting breakfast ready for Kaner in the morning. I go, "Guess where Daddy's going?" He goes, "Where?" And I go, "I'm gonna go see George." And he goes, "Oh, black eye." He goes, are you going to fight him?" I'm like, "No, buddy. We're just going to go. We're going to, give each other a hug and say hi." And I'm like, "No, we've mended our whatever it was a long time ago. He's such a great guy." And man, is that Matt Rempe a big boy. I just love it. It's fucking early July, and there he is out on the ice, skating, working on things that he needs to work on. So I'm a big fan of that kid. And then they had his buddy there, Tyrell Bauer, sorry. Great kid too. So I'm wishing both those guys the best, and they'll do awesome. Both great character kids. So yeah, let's talk about honesty. So big one for me. When I went into treatment, you guys, back in 2008, it was my last treatment center. It was my fifth one. And I said, I'm going to do a couple things. One is I'm going to get in shape. I went in there a fucking fat pig. I went in weighing 260, 57 pounds. I jumped on the scale because they clean your bags for drugs and stuff, and then they want to weigh you. So I was a mess. I was a mess inside and out. Didn't like the way I looked. And so I said, you know what, Brantt, you're going to get in shape. You're going to work out. You're going to work out, and you probably won't work out every day because I know you, Mr. Myhres. But what you can do is work out every second day. So what I did is I did that. I worked out every second day. And I would, I'd go into after we had our AA meeting, I'd go into this workout room, and I'd ride the bike for an hour, and I'd do push-ups and sit-ups. And then when it got nice out, they had these stairs at Astoria Point where the movie Goonies was filmed, believe it or not. We got to go to the house. Pretty cool. But anyways, so they had these stairs, and I'd put on my headset or the iPod back then, and I'd just run these fucking things until exhaustion. So there was that. There was a working out part. And then I said, you know what? All you've done your whole life is lie to people. You're a fucking liar. And nobody respects you. You don't respect you. And yeah, dude, you're a fucking liar. So what you're going to do is you're not going to lie anymore. You're not. You're going to tell the truth with everybody. Even if it sucks and they don't want to hear it, you're going to fucking tell the truth. So you know what, guys? I've done a really, I think, an excellent job of honesty and telling the truth. And it's funny, when you get sober, you don't create wreckage anymore. You know, there's not a lot to lie about, right? You're not trying to cover up and hide stuff, and you know what you've done the night before, and you haven't really created too much wreckage to fucking make up lies. So it's a really easy way to live. It really is. So behind me, there's a book called Painkiller, and that one, and this one here, if you're not watching, this is a blue book, okay? And it's called Alcoholics Anonymous. It's the big book of AA. And I love this book. And the reason why I'm bringing it out is because I love this book, and I think it's important for me and other people. If you're not in the, on that path yet of Alcoholics Anonymous or NA, no problem. Keep coming back, as they say, right? But so behind me in this book, this is the first book I've read in my life in 2008. And when I say ever read it front to back, this isn't the original that I had. I had an original, and I highlighted it, and I had a 4-leaf clover, and I put it in there with my 6-month coin, and I gave it, and I lent it to a man that was struggling. And unfortunately, I didn't get it back, and shit happens. That one stung though, because that book meant a lot to me. So I got another one. It's all good. But we're gonna read something about honesty here. Let's get my glasses going. And it's a chapter called How It Works. And it's rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They're not at fault. They have seemed to have been born this way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those, too, who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. There was honest 3 times in that paragraph, and that's one of my favorites of this book. We'll talk about this book more often, too, because I love it. But yeah, guys, honesty is a big one. In your recovery or sobriety, just stop lying. Just say, I'm not lying anymore. I'm not going to do it. Even if you go out and you get loaded, who cares? Come back, be honest about it. You'll feel better about yourself. And what else here? When we talk about trauma is a big one, and I'm working through it right now with a therapist because it's an important, for me, I've never really gotten over some of my traumas. I've worked on them, peeled the onion back for sure, but I've never really gotten over them. And I don't know about you, maybe you can write in and talk about some of your traumas maybe as a child. And did that play a role in your addiction? Like for me, I believe for sure 100% it did. So we'll talk about Swan Hills, Alberta, and a gentleman named Brad, who I wrote about. And There's a situation when I was about 5 years old, I believe. Me and my mom and my sister Cher were living in a trailer park, and Brad worked in the oil field, I believe, or on the rigs or something. And anyways, he'd come home and he'd have this big black beard, and he'd have these eyes, and they were green, but they'd get fucking red when he was drinking. So I knew that at 5 or whatever. Maybe I might have been 6. Anyways, I was watching TV with my sister Cher, and my mom was in the kitchen, and Brad came home and he had that look in his eye, and his eyes were red again, and he was watching TV on the floor, and my mother said something. I don't know what she said, but he got up and he ran to the kitchen and he grabbed her by her hair, and he punched her in the face, and she fell down to the floor, and she started screaming. And then what he continued to do is he continued to step on her face. And then blood was starting to pour out of her eyes, and she was screaming for us to get help. So as a 5-year-old, what do? I run to the door. I go to get help, and I feel this hand around my neck saying, if you leave or tell anybody, everybody in this house is getting it. So obviously I didn't. But me and Cher that night went to our bunk beds, and we curled up and put the blankets over our head. And I just remember my mother at 3 o'clock in the morning coming in and going, "Kids, be quiet, get up and get in the car. We're going to Grandma's." And we snuck out, and we got in that green machine that she had, big old fucking boat. And we went to Grand Center that night. We got away from Brad. The cops showed up. They did nothing back then in the 80s, early 80s. But when I talk about traumatized, that sound my mom made when I was 5, it's never left. The screaming about going to get help. And me knowing as a child that he was drinking, like because of his eyes when they would turn red. So I don't know if you guys have had any instances when you were young that it still affect you today and maybe played a role in your addiction. Because I believe it did with me. And then, did you guys grow up with anybody? Anybody that took care of you? Were they active drinkers or addicts? My grandparents, that situation, God rest their souls, Bob and Joe Brady, they were, oh man, angels on earth. But they drank. They drank every night as far as I can remember. And my grandpa, till the day he died in the old folks home, he was, I think, 80. "Hey, Gramps, can I get you something? I'm going to come see you." "Yeah, son, can you get me a A&W breakfast burger," or whatever those things are called, "and then get me a bottle of," it was 74, whatever, cherry wine. I'm like, absolutely. At that age. But anyways, they drank every night. But my grandparents, you would call them, there's different stages of alcoholics, right? From, my understanding and in the field for all these years. My grandparents were functioning. They never missed a day's work. There was always food on the table. All the bills were paid. I think I got smacked once for stealing his truck when I was 14. Deserved every fucking slap that I got. But anyways, they were responsible, and I knew that they, I didn't know what the word alcoholic meant, but I knew that, Grandma and Grandpa drank. But my mom got into some pretty serious drug use, excuse me, when I can't remember how old I was. I was actually playing in the National Hockey League when I got this call, and rest in peace, Mom, as well. But my poor mom got caught up with the wrong guys, as I mentioned, and they kicked her door down, and there was 100 at the time. There was like 100 pot plants. But anyways, she went down that path. And my mom was not a drinker, believe me. But it's amazing what certain men can bring out of you. Yeah, I had a question for you guys that are listening. Is there any so Kane has this playlist, my little boy, and it says Kane on it, and then it's got all Bon Jovi songs on it, and he loves them. He's like, "Daddy, play It's My Life," or Wanna Dead or Alive, and I love I love Bon Jovi. old Bon Jovi I really love. Anyways, do you guys have any songs that remind you of your usage when you were drinking or drugging? One of the two. You know, Bon Jovi for me was a man. Oh man, I just felt like every time that I cracked that bottle of Jack Daniels and I'd light that cigarette, I'd go and put the, you know, back then it was CDs, CDs. So I put the CD in and play Bon Jovi. I think obviously Motley Crue too. Once in a while, when you wanted to really like fucking kickstart my heart, you put that one on. But yeah, I think for the most part it would have been Bon Jovi. Love Bob Seger when I was drinking, and what else did I like? Like Meatloaf, R.I.P. Big Man. Love Meatloaf. And then what about any movies for you guys? Well, for me, it was till this day, the movie Blow is a is a big one. What a great movie! I couldn't believe that man's story, but it's still to this day I watch. It's not that I want to do drugs. It's just that when you watch that movie and how glorified the first half of the movie is, you say to yourself, Jesus Christ, it'd be cool to be a drug dealer. I was close to being one of those. Probably wouldn't have been that good. But in 06, I had no other jobs on the go. I got fired from, excuse me, I had a sip of coffee. I got fired from BMW. They wouldn't even let me work on the news side. They shot me over to the used car sales, selling Mini Coopers. And eventually I was chopping up lines in the bathroom. And finally one day the girl came in, wanted to look at a Mini Cooper. She said, "So what's under the hood of this thing?" I said, "I don't know. I think it's a turbo." She goes, "Oh yeah, well, can I see it?" I'm like, I guess so. Anyways, I didn't know where the fucking latch was to open up the hood. So the GM comes in and he goes, "You don't know how to open up the hood to show her the engine?" I said, "No." I said, "Maybe this is an 06. I said, "Maybe they've changed it from the 05s. He's like, "No." So my time at Mini Cooper was up. But back to the movie Blow. And then what else was there? There was Scarface, right? That, I'd watch till this day. And then the one recently was Wolf of Wall Street. My God, what a movie that is. If you go on my Apple playlist, whatever that's called, Apple TV, and there's purchased movies. And if you go on there and you see what I've bought, most of those are the movies that I watch a lot, right? And Wolf of Wall Street was one of them. I watched that thing, I bet you 7 times. Margot Robbie was pretty easy to look at too. But fuck, was that a funny movie. Like I love the movies too that make you laugh, Blow was a little bit, oh my God, at the end, you're crying at the end. But the Wolf, it was just up and down and laughing, and the Lambo scene and the fucking overdosing and the choking and all of it. It was incredible. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any music that reminds you of that, and does it affect you? Is it hard for you to listen to that? And then any movies that make you feel that way. And then we'll chat about it next week. Yeah, so myself, I'm off to do some stuff with my son. It's been beautiful here, and going to take him swimming and try and be a good father. And hopefully we can keep each other unhammered again for another week. Man, I just want to say I really look forward to this. I've had some guests and it's been awesome. Excuse me, but I really like, for me personally, just chatting with you guys and getting the feedback after the episodes. It's been really cool. Whenever you go into a new project or venture into something that's, quite honestly, it's scary. it gets scary. And with the expectations of social media and all that kind of stuff, I had to go in it with no expectations. I had to go in it with, if I can get one view on YouTube or one download, and somebody talks to me about how it's changed their life for that week or that day, it's worth it for me. Keep the fucking camera rolling. Keep going. So that's happened. So it's going to keep rolling. And I hope you guys keep rolling too. And as I said, keep each other unhammered for another 7 days. And have an awesome day, awesome night, awesome sleep. And we'll see you guys in a week. Thanks. Take care. When it all goes slipping away, when it all keeps slipping away.